Good evening, ladies and gentlefers. Thank you for joining me live in SportsDen. This is Ryan Eastman coming to you live from Ikomomai Arena in Honolulu, Hawaii. Joining me in the booth tonight is Matt Lewis from FSPN. How you doing, Matt?
Hey Ryan, what's up?
Oh, just having so much fun. They flew us all the way out here for this game. Can't wait to
Oh
see this
yeah.
matchup. A early divisional matchup between the Seattle Summit versus the Hawaii Kahunas. What are your thoughts here between these two teams?
Well, they've had a okay start to the season. They're struggling a little, but I think there's some potential here and there that we'll see. One of these teams is struggling in the defensive department. We'll get into that a little bit as the game proceeds. And we'll see if the other starting five takes advantage of that. And like I said, I will get into the details of who is who. There's a lot of new faces on the starting five lineup for Hawaii. It'll be fun to talk about that and some of the ongoing changes and potentially future changes that we see at Seattle. But these two teams have met previously this season already. Hawaii came away with that win. It'll be interesting to see if Seattle gets their vengeance tonight.
Yeah, good vengeance on the road would be a great way to start. I think the players are heading to the court, so let's cut down live.
All right. I want a clean matchup, Ryan.
I agree. No fighting in the palace. And you talked about a new lineup for Hawaii. I mean, they had two top five picks. As you see, one of the top five picks with the ball right now.
Yep, Ewan Barlow.
Yep, given over to CC, no good. And CC, I mean, between her and Marshall, the two quote-unquote veterans of the starting lineup, and you can't really call them veterans. CC's been in the league longer of the two. But, I starting lineup, no one under the age of 25, over the age of 25 for the Kahunas here tonight.
Yeah, I don't have the stats specifically, as another miss there gives Hawaii a second chance now. Barlow bringing it up. But, CC's the only one in the starting five for the Kahunas who was here last season.
Yeah, I mean, they went out big in free agency as we see Ronan London, new face on Seattle, getting the first points here tonight. Bruno coming in from Alaska, Marshall coming in from Williamsburg, and obviously Henry Martin and Barlow being drafted just a few months ago to join the Kahunas and find themselves in the starting lineup very early on a team that is looking to rebuild quickly with young talent.
It's two guards. They were number 2 and number 4 in the draft. We saw that go down just a short couple months ago. And here they are in an international match, and in a sense, this is their debut to the larger viewing audience for the FBA. I'm sure they've got their own nerves to work through because of that, being two guards, kind of representing one of these, a very young group, but I think there's a lot of potential here.
And Martin getting called for the first foul, and you talk about old Kahunas, you think back to the Vastenhout JCK era that led them to back, I think 3 straight appearances or 2 straight, at least 2 straight.
They had 2 finals appearances, of course, and several years in a row where they were the division leaders, but they didn't come away with the championship. Obviously, that was an expectation that, if not the first time, that we all kind of thought the second time was going to be the charm. It just didn't work out that way. And an interesting caveat now, one of those team players from those days for the Kahunas, Scooney Barrett, is now playing with the Seattle Summit.
Yeah, I was going to say, someone who has a bit of experience playing on this court will be joining the floor at some point as Seattle takes an early lead, 6-0 here. Hawaii having struggles early as London pulls down that missed shot from Hank.
Yeah, there will be a key few things we need to watch out for when it comes to Kahuna's offensive strategy. Seattle becoming one of those forceful offenses comes with a catch in that they are actually one of the weakest defenses in the FBA right now, so far into the 2025 season here. You wouldn't know it by how this game has started, but they've had problems from beyond the three-point line. They're not racking in the blocks or the steals that they maybe would have in the past with players like Huvyanuk on the roster. And it's still a hole that they're trying to fill. So in this sense, Hawaii needs to kind of take advantage of it. Hopefully they'll get their first point here. That's Valerio on the free throw line.
Yeah, getting the first one down of potential 2, and you have to wonder how much Delmont being switched to the power forwards impacting their ability to have a strong defense down low in the post. They're putting a lot of pressure on Ackerman, the Duck, to definitely hold down that post with the inexperience. I mean, Scooney, I would be shocked if we don't see him throughout the season potentially find himself in the starting rotation if they continue to struggle defensively as they have so early on.
Yeah, it's clear that, there are shifting sands with the Summit. They still have the same core line. Fitzpatrick just re-signed for a 3-year extension with the Summit. But Vilkasaidis, kind of the guy who's been leading the guard lineup for the last couple seasons. There's a whole backstory to him as well. Former champion with the Voodoo, who are now the Venom. And that his contract ends at the end of this season. We don't know what he's going to be doing going forward. But yeah, the Summit are still trying to find, in my sense, a defensive identity. Delmont's trying to help out there, I think, this season by switching over to that role. And that's, those are just natural growing pains with any kind of switch.
And Hawaii back in it now, down by 4 after that fadeaway jumper from Kirkpatrick. And, we talked about being a veteran comparatively, how light they are on the Kahuna side. Talk about Vilkasaidis, 31 years old, been in the league since 2016. And one opportunity for Hawaii is Marshall head to the line for an opportunity for a 3-point play. You have to wonder, Vilkasaidis might be going into his last long-term contract he could be looking for at his peak playing years.
Yeah, every veteran has to face that moment eventually. I'm sure he's slightly aware of, once you kind of pass that 30-year-old mark, your physicality, it's hard to maintain that physicality with the speediness and the FBA has only increased in the last decade. So not only are you trying to talk about defensive blocks.
Yeah, that's why they brought Marshall over to deliver those absolutely soul-crushing blocks down low in the post by the Orca, but Seattle will retain possession.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's just hard to keep up with a young, fresh group of individuals like the Hawaii Kahunas once you get past that 30-year-old mark. But, he's still got some years left in him, and he still fulfills a role for the Summit, and I think they've got stuff to build around. It'll be interesting to see how his career evolves in the next 5 years or so.
A fast break goes the way of Seattle. I mean, not to make Vilkasaidis feel old, but, who he's playing across right now, Hank Martin. When Vilkasaidis was drafted, Hank was still, in primary school.
Pretty much.
The 18-year-old coming into the league now, quite a bit of difference in terms of experience there, and you have to definitely lean into that going forward in this matchup. Vilka, I feel like, could definitely prove to be a thorn in the rookie's side. Not to say that Barlow is going to have any easier of a matchup against London, who's come over from the Santa Ana Spectrums, traded for Blake Kelly. A little surprised to see Blake leave the Summit, but finding himself down in Santa Ana now. Bit of a mix-up in the guard rotation for both teams.
Yeah, London has always provided some flexibility in his career to come off the bench for several years, and now he finds himself the shooting guard position for the Summit. Of course, the Summit are historically division rivals with the Spectrum, so that made the trade all the more unexpected. But we've seen that before happen in the past. Basically a trade of two players from the same position. Sometimes it's just a matter of personality or a specific skill set that is needed for either team. As Valerio here doesn't quite get that one down. Kahuna's struggling here offensive early, Ryan.
Yeah, ooh, and from the free throw line as well. That's the second free throw they've missed thus far. And yeah, I definitely think they may have wanted to go with a different bit of play style. Ronan definitely gives you, 3 levels of scoring and is a bit, Blake at 6'10", very large for a guard, much like Leon, but that also has its own risk in terms of, not necessarily being the most athletic speed-wise on the court. We've seen a lot more leaning towards the speedy guard in the most recent seasons. You have players like Aurora Hopkins running around you, crossing you up. If you're getting tangled like a newborn deer, it doesn't help you too much.
Well, and Seattle has that advantage over Hawaii currently. They've just got kind of more of a physical offensive starting lineup here. Now, we've got a lot of kind of the backbench playing as Rutherfield takes it up here and gets the layup. Earlier on here, we saw Rutherfield steal a pass from O'Hara and turn that into points, so now they're only down by 5. But that's one of Seattle's strong suits. They've had just, they're better off the contact. Overall, they've got just those fundamental physical skills locked down, something that you only can get with experience over time. Maybe in a couple years, Hawaii will find themselves in a similar position, but right now, they're just focused on being able to keep up.
Yeah, I'm going to gush a little bit about Rutherfield here. I was looking forward. I thought maybe he would be a starter this coming year. Came from Huntsville a few years ago. A great off-the-bench three-point shooter. So, I kind of thought maybe back when I was looking at the draft that we might see him slide into the starting lineup. Obviously, with having 2 top 5 picks, Hawaii made their direction known going with 2 guards. But I think they had a great plan in free agency because obviously if they were able to bring in Marshall, they had no need to draft a center with the top pick. No need to try taking a risk, gamble on a unknown factor when you've seen a player with 2 years of tape that you can base your decision-making off of.
Well, and I think earlier on in this, especially in the first handful of games this month, they were still experimenting with their starting lineup. They gave Rutherfield probably a good look, as well as Reisman. Ultimately, they've decided they want to give these 2 young players, throw them into the fire, so to speak, and get that experience early so that even if one or the other can maintain that high level of competition you would expect from a starting lineup, that going forward we'll see progress from them.
Well,
and go ahead.
I was gonna say, with the bench has been stepping up, it's why he's back within 3 in that short little bit of time.
Right. I don't absolutely know who is considered a bench starter for the Kahunas at this point. It being November 23rd, 100,000% the date that this is being recorded.
I mean, right? It's, there's, depending on what part of the world you're in, it's a different day,
Right, it could be the 24th.
Look, I say it's
Thanksgiving, Ryan.
I said it's evening here. It's like lunchtime, actually, and, it's evening on the East Coast.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're in literally the westernmost arena in the FBA.
Well, I mean, you could say you're in the Ring of Fire right now. Maybe rename this division to the Ring of Fire.
I like that. Pacific Rim renamed to Ring of Fire. Though I think the Firestorm would have a thing or two to say about that.
Well, look, we almost faced a lawsuit when that movie came out that tried to bear the same name.
Right.
Pacific Rim, the big action scene.
Right.
Anyways, back to the game of basketball, which is what we're paid shockingly to talk about here.
We get paid.
You got a vacation here, did you not?
Oh, so we're paid in drinks.
I mean, some of us are, some of us aren't.
Well, how about that? That was yeah. The
Well,
Hawaii bench outscoring the starters by 8 points so far. What do you think of that?
not a shock to me. I think Hawaii, like I said, has a lot of rough edges with their starting lineup, the rookies. And I mean, we're going to look back in 4 months when the season's wrapping up, and the starters, the rookies we see are going to be completely different players. You know, the amount of experience they're going to gain, every game is going to be a new experience for them, a new kind of challenge faced. They're going to learn so much between now and then. It's going to be a completely different team, even a month from now, let alone 4. So this team is not built for a championship this year. This team is built to grow.
Yeah, I don't imagine that's news to the Kahuna's organization, but at the same time, I think they feel by putting those rookies in the starting lineup and then having the bench be full of their, what would you maybe consider veteran players, it's sending a message out to the rest of the league that, hey, get used to seeing these guys, because what you show them right now, we're just going to be doing 100 times better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and next season, 2 years from now, assuming this group of players stays together, you know, again, CC being the one main component, Jared Sunderman not getting re-signed. He was the last vestige of the previous championship run that they made only 4 or 5 seasons ago. So, yeah, we're talking about a brand new era for Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say traumatic, but to see Scooney in a non Kahuna's jersey right now on the floor as he made a basket just a little while ago to put Seattle up by 5 with the last possession, going to Hawaii here. Leonard for 3, no good off the back iron, and with that the first quarter will come to a close. Seattle up by 5, but they were up by a bit of a more significant margin earlier, and the bench has really helped stabilize Hawaii here, and hopefully coach has been spending this time talking to the starters, getting them refocused and adjustments made so they can come into the second quarter and be a bit more explosive on the offensive side.
Yeah, I know that for a fact, you know, Hawaii is going to challenge Seattle in those moments where we would expect perhaps that physicality to come out. But ultimately, Seattle's up now by 7. They were up 18-9 at one point in the first quarter. We get our first major foul there.
Yeah, legal screen, but it's only the first foul for Marshall. But as you brought up at the beginning, Seattle has a bad defense. Hawaii should be able to pick it apart and get some baskets going. I mean, obviously, maybe Seattle can clamp down defense, make some good adjustments. But Marshall, I feel like, should be pounding the post. Obviously, Ackerman's down there. But, you know, Leon's the big question. There we go. Great post play to Huscott. Shuggy, the Red Panda, just getting an easy layup. Defense absolutely blown apart there. No one around.
Yeah, I think it's just sometimes, you know, part of what makes a good defense is not just the physicality, but being in the right position. Obviously, that's going to be a lot more difficult. Though they're able to get a turnover there, that's on their offensive game, honestly. But we're talking about the backup, or I guess the bench of the Seattle that come out here. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say that's the 3rd steal now for Hawaii. They have been very active with their paws, going after the ball handlers. And, you know, it's been going their ways. Seattle has not really generated the same number of turnovers. And, 4 now. Marshall, perfect interception of that passing lane. Fast break. Shuggy pulling it down and dunking it. Oh, the elevation there from the Red Panda with some flair for the home crowd.
Yeah, that was O'Hara's second really bad pass of the game so far. The Siamese cat making a little bit too slow of an approach, and I think Kahuna saw an opportunity, took it on, and then that excellent pass to Huskett. Uh, now the crowd is really into it for really the first time, I think, tonight.
Almost lost again, but London able to keep his cool, pulls it up for a jumper. Put up 6 points in the first quarter. And we should see the rest of the starters coming back in soonish, but I would be shocked if Shuggy's sent off because he's on fire right now, or the Kahunas. And they're gonna let him play ISO here. Spin move down in the post, one-on-one, not able to get the fall though.
And now O'Hara's got the. Well, she had the thing going.
Well, I was going to say, Shuggy getting a little aggressive, trying to, he's feeling it right now. Got called for the contact, but not a bad play.
Happy excitement.
He doesn't have any real foul trouble. I mean, obviously, coming away with a shot, a stolen ball would be better. And, great tip back by O'Hara. Siamese Cat able to get one pop just to tap it in. She knew she would not be able to pull that board down. She was outmatched in terms of height and vertical, but just sticking up one paw was able to get the advantage there. Push it back to a 7-point lead for Seattle. Oh, and Smith intercepting it. One-on-one in the post. No good, though.
Yeah, other than Edwin Griga, I think the only other goose in the league, Colin Smith, hasn't seen a lot from him so far in his career. But this is his first season with, of course, the Summit after coming off a championship with the Tides.
A quick basket answer back from London. 10 points for him tonight, a fourth of all of Seattle's scoring. And Hank, on the other end, was able to get his basket to fall. And now Shuggy, once again, that's another bucket for the Red Panda. Came over from Williamsburg. Quite a few players on this team, former Minutemen.
And Huskett, isn't one of those players that we've been talking about when considering the potential veteran starters for the Kahuna's guard lineup. And in fact, not very much a veteran either, as you mentioned. This is probably the youngest team in the FBA. But that brings forth, a lot of advantages. And he's somebody who has proven at times to be an essential asset to the Minutemen when he was over there. And now for the Kahunas, he's having a neat.
Yeah, well, I was going to...
It's cool to see.
It is. The guy played off the bench a lot in Williamsburg. Obviously, their guard core is very strong. They didn't necessarily need him to play starters. We see a foul from Ackerman sending Marshall to the line for two. But you look at the number of high draft picks that have found their way onto Hawaii here. Obviously, Cece 8th overall in 21. Marshall 2nd overall in 2022. 4th overall in 2022. Shuggy, right. 12th overall in 2022. Then you have the 5th pick, Barlow. 2nd pick, Martin. There's a lot of high draft talent on this roster right now. Vilka putting down a bucket as well. 10 points as well between him and London. 20 points. Half the scoring for Seattle thus far.
Yeah, that is not really that different when looking at Seattle's output this far this season. They've gotten a lot more from their guards. Comparing to the Kahunas, have relied a lot more on their bigs to score this season.
Yeah, Martin with the step back jumper as the time wound down, not able to convert there. Robbed a bit as it rattled out. Yeah, I think London adds a bit more of a three-point play to play along with Vilka. Obviously,
absolutely.
The Summit still... Oh, and another big block, but Kirkpatrick cleans it up, but no chance on that shot. Hawaii, another chance to cut into this lead.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder if the 2 inches that Torrega has over Ackerman really do matter in those big defensive moments. I know they weren't completely involved on that last play, but it just got me to thinking about, as we compare defenses here, and certainly how the game has gone thus far with Seattle being up 9 points with 5.5 minutes left in this second quarter.
Yeah, well, you saw Marshall get a third block there against Delmont, who had spun around the defense and looked like had an easy lane to the basket. Blocked from behind, even though they were able to clean it up. And, Marshall getting the offensive board, beating Ackerman in positioning and pulled down the board, fouled on the way up. We'll go to the line for 2. Missed one free throw earlier. See if he can convert both of them here. Good on the first.
Yeah, like she blocked him blocked her from behind basically on that. And that's the only way you're going to stop that shot from happening.
Well, I mean, Marshall had Ackerman absolutely beat, had to foul from behind. In Seattle, you're going to see call timeout, maybe make some substitutions, but they're up by 7 still here. But it doesn't feel like the momentum is going in their way necessarily, as the defense has just been starting to shut them down.
There's a lot of time left in this game, Ryan, and I don't think you need me to tell you that.
No.
However, yeah, we haven't seen the Kahunas take a lead thus far on home court. Right now, they're just trying to suss out some of the, I would say is some of the places where they have an advantage over the Summit. And we saw that a little bit with Shuggy. And now we're seeing a lot of, outer rim passes there.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of screens get thrown. Like right there, that was the second time they've run that play to get Martin open from mid-range. It's off a double screen in the post, which,
right.
I think they're trying to beat out Seattle in terms of physicality. It's Vilka off the glass with speed, able to get that bucket up. 9-point game here. And I do think with Marshall now being brought over to Hawaii, looking down low in the post, you do have a bit of an advantage in terms of bulk. And, Marshall going to get called a loose ball over the back foul there.
Yeah, he got tripped up there a little bit, trying to turn things back around as the play was, starting to go in the direction of the Summit basket. Just a quick hiccup there. I think they'll get over it.
Well, I mean, you try and have it.
Delmont getting the foul there.
Well, you try getting almost stepped on by an orca. Like, I think it's the Seattle player that might be in more trouble in that case.
No, I'd prefer not to be stepped on by anything.
That's fair. But Seattle definitely seems to be more, they're definitely trying to be physical, but I think they are going to be being out down low in the post by this Kahunas team if they can start exploiting, that matchup. Delmont versus Marshall, as you see there. Marshall a little bit too far away, trying to push his range a bit.
Well, and then I don't think Campione was in the right position there to get the rebound, and that was just, how the cookie crumbled.
Well, who was in the right position was Scooney, an absolute monster down low on the board, able to get a second chance shot up, but no good. One basket thus far for the Otter here.
I sometimes wonder how easy it is for a player like Scooney, really any player, when you are playing your old team like this, where if you lose yourself in the game, does that mean you're also losing yourself with the idea that, hey, maybe I'm still on the Kahunas, and you get distracted enough, you accidentally, throw an errant pass to the wrong team or something like that. I wonder if that's ever happened.
Oh, I'm sure in the course of history it has. CC with the steal there, giving Hawaii a chance to get a bucket. And the rookie Barlow able to get a bit of a hang time to get that one. I mean, I imagine it's more common during the season if you get traded mid-season. Can you imagine? You're playing with your teammates one day, and then you get traded, and you happen to play them the very next day, like that kind of.
Ooh, Ryan, I want a T-shirt.
No, that's for the fans.
But they're so cool.
Are you gonna steal them from a child?
Hey, that child cut me in line for a hot dog earlier.
Okay, I mean, yeah, you can steal it from them then.
Yeah.
Just, I'm not going to bail you out if you go to jail for punching a child.
Hey, if this was a hockey game, we watched players go inside a jail box all the time.
Step back jumper from Reese, no good. Hawaii a chance to keep chipping away at here as we have most of the bench back on the floor. Quick play to Barlow. Off the glass is good. The rookie able to get down low in the post on the fast break and quick basket off the glass. See if Seattle can
Barlow's
answer
now
back.
they're getting some of the separation that I would have hoped they would have been able to get earlier in the game. They're starting to see it now with Ewan's last couple shots going in rather uncovered, as it were. That might just be a defensive oversight. Seattle struggles in that.
Well, CC not being too aggressive against Francesco down the post. The Black Panther able to come up with the defensive stop, but blocked almost out of bounds. But Barlow able to reach out and grab it before it entered the fans' area. Able to send it quick on the other way, but blocked. Getting his own miss though. Back to Barlow.
Calm things down a little bit, but it's only a 5-point game now.
Yeah, again, I mean, Barlow obviously on the floor still, so is CC, so I can't say this is just the bench getting it done for Hawaii, but, there's a bit more energy right now, especially coming from the fans as they see their team pull it back in within 3 with 75 seconds left to go in this first half. And Niren able to get a stop there, the veteran. Fishing Cat able to get a good defensive stop. Barlow almost loses it, turns around, not able to get the jumper over Francesca to fall. The Black Panther will pull it down and head the other way for Seattle.
Yeah, Francesca just not getting enough of their feet or the paws down. Maybe we've lost a life on that shot.
Well, Niren's going to provide the defensive stop against Reese coming back the other way. 18 seconds separates shot clock and game clock here. Hawaii trying to go for a quick basket. Barlow not able to convert though, but they will get the final shot thanks to that time management. We'll see if Seattle can add anything to their lead here. It's Turnbull backing down, likes the matchup against Francesca. Or sorry, against losing track of who my players are right now on the court.
Well, as long as you are on the topic of basically the players that are on the floor, one thing that I've liked, obviously, as the second half draws to a close here, is Barlow stepping up. They have, of course, a unique physicality, being reptile, maybe getting a little bit more of a distance off the contact that you wouldn't expect from a rookie. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, playing in Hawaii is probably one of the best environments for him to be in. Thankfully not drafted by like Alaska, where might have to go through a bit of an ice age if up there through the winter. But players adapt. We have a polar bear playing in a desert right now, so.
Well, Barlow is from Utah, so he's used to the cold. I don't think that's particularly a difficult thing. The adaptation has been there his whole life. But yeah, he stepped it up in the second quarter here. Coming off the bench at first and then getting the start. Shuggy Huskett also filling in a major void for the Hawaii guards.
Yeah, Martin stepping it up to 3 of 7 thus far. I want to see definitely the 3-point game get going. A lot of Barlow's misses were in the first quarter. Like I said,
Campione with 4 block, or sorry, to cut you off, Campione's defensive performance so far really good. 4 blocks and 2 steals.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, that has been a major thorn in Seattle's side thus far. And not just against the easy matchups either. They've been blocks from behind, good help defense coming in to shut down the Seattle Summits players. And obviously you look at the starting lineup, it's mostly been the Vilkasitis London show. 22 points between the pair there.
Yeah, and Ackerman, I think, would like to get a little bit more involved offensively. Only 4 points so far, but 6 rebounds, 2 from 3 from the post. Just not getting a lot of shot opportunities. Tarega doing a good job defensively and keeping her in check.
If anything, it's the bench for the Summit that need to step it up a little bit in terms of their efficiency. Obviously, O'Hara getting that turnover was not a that resulted in a quick 2 points for the Kahunas, but we're going to switch back to the starting lineup to start this second half here. Delmont going to bring the ball up the court. A little bit of nostalgia there, giving over to Vilka. Finds a great lane off that screen.
But yeah, it's just a factor that you have 2 rookie guards playing against 2 veteran guards. And right now it's London and Vilkasatis leading the charge, and that's why they're up in front right now.
Fouled from behind. Martin will head to the line for 2. I mean, you can almost argue there's 3 guards on Seattle. You got Delmont, who played it for the first, 7 years of his career, being able to play a bit of a point forward if need be. And how much of a problem can that be when you have a player like Vilka able to play off the ball? It's not even like you normally used to having to worry about him bringing it up the court, but now you're having to deal with him playing off screens.
Well, and that's part of what a forward does, is they become kind of the all-around player on the floor. That's where Delmont felt, given their size, they could provide more value for the starting lineup and make the necessary changes to the Summit's capabilities of becoming, last year was supposed to be their division leader year. Every other year they win their division, and last year that broke the trend, and they're still trying to kind of crawl up from that.
Yeah, last year being the worst statistical year for Delmont, even worse than his rookie year in terms of points put up. Definitely has lost a bit of a step, so makes sense seeing him slide down to, where he can utilize his size a little bit more. Trying to guard players like Vilka, who's a fast guard. When you start losing that step, as you talked about, not able to keep up, and you're just giving up free points, then as we see a fadeaway from Delmont there, putting Seattle back up by 7.
I think that will be key to Seattle's second half here. They do need to get the rest of their starting 5 involved offensively a little bit, because as we know, defensively they struggle. Traditionally, they struggle. They might be having a little bit of an easier time tonight. As we mentioned, some of the ball handling skills from Ronan London apparently need to be discussed a little. But other than that, we talk about what Kirkpatrick and Delmont and Ackerman can do for the Summit, and that is they can fulfill an offensive opportunity in the second half that I think would put this game away completely.
Yeah, but you can't discount the explosiveness that, the rookies can provide, or even the young players. Hawaii, we haven't really seen them hit the threes yet, but they are arguably one of the better young three-point shooters. They brought in Bruno specifically because of his ability to stretch the floor, much like his brother. The Kangaroo Rat can hit the 3-ball, and obviously you got Henry Martin, very capable of hitting the 3, just haven't seen it thus far tonight. And once it does start to fall, they can quickly close the gap. As Barlow, speaking of, not able to. CC not able to get the second chance. Third chance is finally good, though.
Yeah, one of those things where I think sometimes they just hear us talking upstairs, and and of course, rookie of anyone is going to be like, hey, I heard that. Watch me do this. And then, of course, they don't make it, and you wonder, okay, well, what was that for?
I mean, it wasn't a terrible shot either. Wide open. Ooh, a big block against Kirkpatrick.
And absolutely. I'm not denying that Barlow has not been trying to make stuff happen on their own accord tonight. And Campione cleaning up there. Tarega getting under the basket with that one. That was a good layup.
Yes, quick basket. Great play there is now Seattle back down within a 5-point game here for Seattle. And I'm happy to see the Hawaii Stars have definitely picked it up here. Not having to rely on their bench. It's been the defense getting it done as another block sent out of bounds by Marshall. That's, I believe, 4 or 5 now.
Mm-hmm. And as I was saying earlier, sometimes you wonder how those 2 inches that the the Orca has over the Duck, whether those come into play in key situations like that, where Hawaii is on a trend on the up and up.
Woo!
And is now really taking advantage of it. Greg there with a slammer. The Orca is making their voice known on this starting roster tonight.
A foul by Rudolph will send Seattle to the line for 2. And you hear the fans definitely not happy with the foul call. They're seeing Hawaii start to get some momentum going. And, a trip to the free throw line definitely gives everyone a chance to catch their breath and reset mentally.
Coach Burke looking fairly platonic. Hard to read individual, actually.
Oh, just like...
Probably just happy that his players are keeping up.
Well, you say that, and immediately there's a timeout called, so maybe you're misreading the situation.
Like I said, hard to read guy.
But Hawaii, they just need to keep it close until the final couple minutes, and they can easily pull ahead. Their defense is proving to be the biggest challenge for the Summit here to overcome. The defense from Seattle's end has definitely been, at times, a factor, but it really seems just like Hawaii's been missing shots they could have made. Shuggy.
Well, and you mentioned it at the halftime that we needed to see a little bit more production from the Seattle bench, as Delmont there gets his most physical shot of the night so far, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, fast break, able to elevate and dunk the Cougar, reminding players why he has been to the dunk contest quite a few times. But
but it's like if you need to have the presence of your starting lineup on the floor in the fourth to to keep your distance and to hold Hawaii down, as they're going to bring that strength and energy that they have with the youthful roster in the fourth quarter. At least I would expect that. If I were coaching these teams, that's what I would be planning for. Then we need to see more production here from Seattle's offense, and specifically their backbench, if they're going to be on the floor. Right now, they've got most of their starters out.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Seattle, it's a little too close for comfort right now. As you've seen, Delmont stripped by Rudolph, trying to drive by, and the Beaver just stuck his paw out and slapped it away. And a quick play on the other end brings it back within 3.
Yeah, nice 2-pointer from Martin there. Just shrugging down the lane and really not defended at all in the paint.
Ackerman cleaning up the miss by Delmont, answering back right away with another basket. I want to see Hawaii, start stretching the defense out, pull them to the perimeter. I know we saw Barlow hit that 3 attempt or miss that 3 after I mentioned it. Now, obviously, Shuggy on the floor is more of a slasher type guard, even though step back around the screen. Ooh, no good there. Had a good look though. Again, Hawaii is getting good looks. They're just not having the baskets fall. And if they can keep getting these good looks, eventually they will start to fall. And that's when Seattle's going to be in big trouble.
I think that was a longer 2 for Shuggy than probably he wanted personally. So that was just, in that key moment, didn't work out so well. As Seattle gets another very physical shot. They are bringing all their physicality out right now. Hawaii has to take a timeout.
What you see there, Seattle's, field goal percentage is definitely the highest it's been, even though, again, Hawaii hasn't really slipped behind, so they're shooting just as well. The defense is finally, not shutting down Seattle, and I think this is where, Coach wants to call a timeout. Is actually, I think Seattle appreciates that too, because they get to sub out a lot of their starters, leaving Delma on the floor. They're going to bring in some fresh legs.
Yeah, both benches now out on the floor pretty much. We see Hawaii bringing out Hoskett earlier, but now Reisman takes the place of Martin, who we haven't heard much from tonight.
Yeah, Aziz getting called for the foul there on Delmont. Delmont will head the line for another 2.
Frustrating night for her as well. She's yet to get a goal in the limited minutes she has been on the floor.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to even when she was on the floor, you know, you had Shuggy starting to go off, so you keep playing through the hot paw, and I think we see Shuggy actually can get a chance to rest his legs. Delmont, good on the first, good on the second, pushing it back to a 9-point game.
Well, what do you think about this, Delmont and the rest being the bench as the current players on the floor right now?
I mean, Delmont's been a little bit hotter this quarter, so I can understand keeping him out. Is Reisman able to get that open look to fall, nothing but net? So, you know, keeping Delmont out there, maybe just to try and force Hawaii to keep one of their bigs out, but obviously they've chosen not to. So, it might come back to haunt them if Delmont starts to show fatigue in that fourth quarter. Zohara from beyond the arc is good. I think that's the first 3 from Seattle tonight.
I was not expecting that to go down, quite frankly, but I'm very impressed. You know, the feline there had some miscues in the first half. That led me to believe that she was one of the things that needed to change with regards to the Seattle bench output, but she's making up for it with that 3 there.
Delmont trying to an ISO play, attack the post himself, not able to get the ball to fall, and now fast break tipped.
Oh.
Delmont a block from behind, able to stop Rutherfield from getting that basket. Smith, back to Reese. Seattle's going to slow it down here. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Turnbull has a great matchup in the post. Able to get the bucket to fall. Back to a double-digit lead here.
Yeah, I think that's maybe what they're going for, is just trying to get time off the clock. You know, you've got the lead. You don't know. You've really not been up more than 10 points at any point this game. So your best friend becomes the shot clock.
Oh, and a difficult shot, but able to convert it there. Again, Seattle has not really been able to pull away. Yes, they've been able to build double-digit leads, but, you know, they're off little runs here and there, and then Hawaii slowly claws back into it. Good play around the screen there to lay it up and in.
You mentioned that earlier, like Hawaii needs to take more 3-shot attempts. They're starting to do that a little bit here. It prevents some of the younger players from getting maybe that, a little bit of a tricky pass there. Rudolph was a little bit too short for...
Well, now Rudolph having to take a 3 and not his range as the shot clock was winding down. Now, I said take a 3, but not that kind of take a 3, please.
Well, Rudolph has shot from beyond the 3-point line before, but it's, yeah, as you mentioned, not his strong suit. He's much more a paint runner forward.
Now, they were still able to make the bucket despite the missed shot opportunity. I feel like I'll have to double check at the stats at the end. Oh, bad pass from Delmont. I was going to say, Hawaii seems to have had much more in the way of second chance opportunities. Rudolph down low in the post. Reese able to get the stop, though. Fast break back to Delmont. Delmont on the other end, no. Niren is shutting down the Cougar right now down low in the post.
And Rudolph is one of those interesting players for the Kahunas, taking basically a voluntary demotion for the better of the team, allowing some of the younger, I guess, physically skilled players to take the lead this season. Has gone through one hell of a career in a short time in the league, but...
Well, in some ways, you know, as a player, you know what you're capable of, and obviously some players have more of an inflated version of what they think they can do, and some players have a more realistic version. And, you know, having a player that can know the more realistic side can be a big benefit to a team, because they're not going to waste shot opportunities. You know, great matchup there. We saw Rudolph able to back down the post. We have players that, you know, overestimate their abilities. They're going to try things that are terrible shot selections. They're going to miss opportunities, as we see a jump ball. Turnbull, I think, might have the bit of a size advantage here, though.
Right. I mean, but you mentioned Rutherfield earlier. It's a similar story for him as well. He was here with the team last year, and is now serving as a, you know, deep bench reserve player for the most part, but has shown, you know, some effectiveness here. Obviously has 1 year up on some of these other players, knowing the schemes that they like to play. But that's something that we keep in mind too, as Reisman gets blocked from behind by O'Hara. And now it's 5-point game.
Yeah, and Leon's going a bit cold here. Surprised, you know, finally getting subbed out there. A chance to catch some rest before, with only a second left in this third quarter, as the three is no good. We saw a double-digit lead earlier for the Summit, now down to only a couple possessions here for them. Hawaii could find themselves with the first lead of the game should they get a little run going here in the fourth.
Oh, that assist was so assisting. I loved that.
But starters back in for Hawaii, and we'll have to see Seattle what they do. Obviously, Leon going to be resting, so they're not going to be able to pull their full starters out for a little while. Rudolph still on the floor. Off the iron, no good. Reese going to bring it up, and you see there a 3-minute scoring drought for Summit, even though finally breaking it with an and one opportunity.
Oh, man, Rudolph. Don't shrug that off.
And good for the 3-point play. 7-point game once again. And said 2 missed free throws here tonight by Hawaii, and that's been the only one. And Shuggy, fast break. Lemon forced a foul to shut down the Red Panda before he could get a bucket, sending him to the line for 2.
And as predicted, the fourth quarter here starts, and all of a sudden, the real physical defense that we can get from really both units, at least certain players of both units, is starting to make itself known. We're probably going to see a lot more foul shots here in this last 12 minutes.
No doubt. I do see some substitutions. Vilka back on the floor for Seattle. Calling for, well, a pass to Francesca. Gonna take it one-on-one into the post. No good. Rudolph shutting that down.
Yeah, Francesca's still out there. Has not yet made a shot in the game.
Yeah.
Has had several opportunities to do so. That's that bench productivity you were talking about.
Yeah, trying to force a shot there, doing an ISO play, and shot clock starting to become a problem. Barlow gonna try and drive to the free throw line. Is good.
Hey.
A bit sideways as he was sliding, basically, in the air. Still able to get the shot off from the free throw line. Back to a 3-point game. Seattle, if they get stopped here, we could see a tie game. Should Hawaii choose to hit a 3. Kirkpatrick.
Well, and if it makes any difference for you, Ryan, Coach Creston is now fully up and standing for, I think, the first time this game, as he's realizing, though that was, you know, probably a little bit of a breather for him, that this is a little bit too close for comfort at the moment.
Vilka able to hit that 3 with the defender all over him. You know, again, Seattle's been the one not really attacking from beyond the arc, but still able to get them to fall. And Marshall, third chance, gets the cleanup. Took a few tries, but, you know, Marshall's going to take care of that in the end. 4-point game once again.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah. Francesca.
Usually.
I mean, I've seen like 5 offensive rebounds on the same possession. It's wild. There we go, Francesca. Able to get the double clutch, pulling it back down and getting a lane to the basket. Hawaii. Calling for a screen, getting the perimeter to Shuggy. Down low to Rudolph. 1-on-1, gets a good spin move around Francesca and lays it in off the glass.
And that's just one of those things that can happen at this point of the game. The players, it stops becoming about getting the perfect shot. It's just like any shot that you have an opportunity that you think the matchup is clean enough, you're going to go for it.
Yeah, both teams, some substitutions ready to go at the next dead ball, and blocked again. Marshall getting closer and closer to a triple-double. I think that's block number 6 now on the board. And
yeah, Marshall making a huge difference here tonight.
Well, again, that's definitely
At
why
least in the ability for them to keep up.
I mean, no doubt. I mean, yes, the blocks have unfortunately been mostly getting sent out of bounds, so Seattle's been able to keep possession in that instance. You definitely want to see a block end up in your own team's paws, but it still rattles your opponent. They know you're there. They know you're going to block them. Kirkpatrick wide open, able to hit that every day.
That's the most wide open he's been all night, honestly. If he hadn't made that shot, I would have been a little bit concerned.
And again, I'll say another veteran, Seattle, you start to wonder in terms of their window with players like Vilka and Kirkpatrick. In their early 30s, starting to wonder how many more productive years at their peak you're going to have. And a shot clock violation off the block. Possession goes back to Seattle, and you see Coach upset with the management of the clock there.
Well, I think the Summit are committed to their starting 5. I think a lot of what we thought were the questions going into this past off season with Kirkpatrick were basically answered right away with them resigning for a 3-year extension. Campione gets fouled there. And yeah, the second question will be if Vilka comes back, will it be a long-term final contract, or is he looking to make another change in his career? It was a very involuntary trade from Biloxi, very publicized at the time. But I think he's found his home here in Seattle, and I don't think Seattle is looking to make a lot of huge changes. But of course, that's what happens when you get a little too comfortable with who you're putting out there, because Seattle, despite all that, is not perhaps winning some of these games that they'd like to be winning outright. And right now, they're trying to win in Icomo Mai for the first time this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you also have Delmont only on a 1-year trial deal to see how it works out with him playing the forward position. So you've got a few questions. This season's kind of a make it or break it in terms of can you prove what you've got here. And Valerio elevating for the dunk there. Bruno not getting it done from beyond the arc, but getting it done down low in the post. Back within 4 here, Seattle. What have you got? What have you got as an answer? Starters back on the floor now. That back jumper, no good from Delmont.
And I think that's why there's been so much talk about Seattle's defensive output thus far. Has it been advantageous for Delmont to move to the power forward position? And, in tandem with Ackerman, certainly she deserves some of that criticism as well. Has it been a good move for them? Or is Delmont still playing kind of like a guard? And what, as a result of that, does that mean for Seattle's ability to defend well against some of these bigs that the other teams have? For all of the talk about Hawaii's starting guards being basically the number 2 and number 4 draft picks of this last draft round, they still got some really great talent from their bigs, as we've seen here tonight. Still a lot of questions remain unanswered, regardless of whether Seattle comes out of here with a win or not.
Well, I was gonna say I think that's only the second basket for CC here tonight. You know, hasn't been very proactive down on the post, but ball almost stripped. Kirkpatrick coming back up with it. I was gonna say we did see one bench substitution, which Marshall trying to get some rest for the Orca. He's been all over the court here tonight, but I think finally starting to show some fatigue, so they're trying to get him, you know, a couple minutes of rest for that final 2 or 3 minutes of the quarter to try and win this out.
Yeah, it was like Kirkpatrick was petting the ball. Very uncharacteristic of him, but he managed to at least get it out from underneath his legs and make something of it. Ackerman here under the basket with a quick layup. And now maybe perhaps are they starting to outlast the Kahuna's starting five?
See, all Kirkpatrick has to do is make it look like the ball is still bouncing, so it doesn't count as a, you know, picking up the ball. Yeah,
that's how basketball works, huh?
Yeah, you know, you gotta keep drilling. Oh my God! Over 2 defenders.
Man,
absolutely elevating there. That is a definitely poster highlight. And the ball stripped. CC coming up with it. Valerio.
And now Valerio picking it. Yeah.
Oh, Hawaii.
I spoke too soon, Ryan.
You did. Like the volcano erupting, Hawaii is starting to get active. And you hear the crowd as well chanting defense. Another stop here and another quick basket. And
yeah, Seattle needs to slow this game down and get open shots like that.
And an and one going back to the line for 2. And, you know, right now they're keeping Shuggy in. He has been a bit of a spark. And there you go. Marshall got about 3 minutes of real time to catch his breath before being put back out there. Now, Shuggy, what can you do with the ball in your paws? Red Panda. ISO step back, pulls the ball up. Not going to take that shot. It's a little outside his range.
Haudega back out on the floor as well to hopefully get that added defensive bonus here.
The block there will stay with Hawaii, but only 5 seconds on the clock. And now Shuggy will get subbed out. They're going to bring in Arlo back in to finish this game out. Might see Shuggy come back on the floor if they're looking for a different bit of spark. I think Barlow gives them a bit of a different play style they can go with. But shot, wind down. Martin for 3 is good.
Oh.
The rookie with the pressure on him, 18 years old, hits a tough 3. Keeping Hawaii in this game.
Sometimes we forget how young Martin is when we see shots like that being made in the FBA.
And Barlow on the other end going to pull down the board of the missed Seattle shot. Hawaii chance to pull this back within 1 bucket. And Barlow, quick play. He's going to take it up himself. Using Marshall as a bit of a screen to get the shot off. And there you go, 14 points for the rookie. Outpacing London right now. London's been very quiet in this second half compared to putting up the 10 points in the first.
Right. And I don't know whether or not Seattle's got... Well, that quieted the crowd down. That was Ackerman there with the layover.
Yeah, a little bit of an easy hook shot there, but again, all it takes is a quick basket. And Barlow, 1-on-1. Ooh, driving, gonna get called for the reach and not a shooting foul. So they will just reset the clock to 14 seconds, and they will keep possession here. Not a lot of time to get a play put together. Back to Barlow. Valerio attacking the paint against Delmont.
Oh,
Valerio got to keep up, though. Martin for 3. Can you hit 2 in a row? Yes, Martin! Another 3. Huge 3 with the clock against him.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Seattle.
That hair can jump.
Yeah, well, and the fact that no pressure, apparently, hitting 2 big 3s of the night. First 3s, I think, for Hawaii thus far. As Kirkpatrick driving to the basket, fouled by CC. Will go to the line for 2. But 2:21 left to go. Plenty of time for Hawaii here.
A lot of eyes on Kirkpatrick right now.
Tasmanian Devil no good on the first. First missed free throw of Seattle's. Knight.
Not the time to be missing free throws either.
No, it is not. And Barlow going to bring it up, take the lead, let Martin play off the ball. The Hare has a hot paw right now from beyond the arc, so defense has to be collapsing on him. But no. Oh, he almost had a bit of a second there, an open look, but defense.
Will he bring it up? Yep.
I prefer the spot-up jumper. I think that's where he's feeling it right now. So,
well, there was just nobody on the other side of the basket either to recover the ball.
Big block again, this time by Cece, sending it out of bounds. Going to stay with Seattle.
She looks quite proud of herself, too, after that.
I mean, I would
That
be
was
pretty
all
proud,
neck.
too. Kirkpatrick going to get the ball matched up against CC. Back to London. Going to call for the screen from Delmont. Get a little bit of an open look from the top of the shooting key. No good, though. Hawaii still within striking distance here.
Gotta get down there. They're too fast. Gotta get down there.
Now the defense has a chance to set up now, and what are you going to do with the 10 seconds on the shot clock? Martin calling for a screen. Stepping inside, attacking the paint, gets around the defense, and ties the game. Hawaii, first tie of the night, and it's a tie game with 20 points coming from the young rookie. Delmont gonna take the ball, dishing down to Vilka.
Gotta.
Everyone backs off, lets the Wolf work down low in the post, not able to convert, ball tipped.
No, bad tip.
Hawaii, Barlow, can he take the lead? First lead tonight, and the crowd is on their feet for Hawaii. And Summit call timeout. They need to recalibrate here. They have let the lead fall through their paws.
Yeah, it's not over, obviously. But with 52 seconds remaining, you got to come up with that game plan.
Yeah, I mean, there's still 3 or 4 possessions left to go in this game, but Seattle needs to hit a basket here. Doesn't need to be a 3, but oh, big pass down low. London baits the jump shot on the rookie. Oh, what a play. That is experience right there, and the rookie falling for the pump fake. Bites on the shot, leaving London a wide open shot to tie it up here, 105. In Hawaii,
this is the loudest I've heard. I can barely hear you, Ryan.
well, they have to call. They called timeout. They needed to get a game plan going. They did not want to risk any inbound shenanigans. They're going to bring Riesman in, another 3-ball shooter. Let Marshall try and play down low in the post, off the rim, no good. Seattle, a chance here. Delmont going to bring it up. ISO, 1-on-1, fouled and good on the way up.
And that's where the Delmont's experience just overall.
The Cougar may be only 25, but he's been in the league for 7 years. And good on, he's been in some high pressure situations. This is nothing new to him. Able to get the and one. 3-point game now. Now the pressure is on Hawaii to hit a 3 to tie it up. And they're going to, oh, I don't know if I like this call.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a weird place to call a timeout here. The momentum there, you needed to at least get, Barlow or, Hank open. At least go for a 3, but I think what their fear was, if that all rebounds in the wrong direction and Seattle comes up with it, that's, game over. Well,
speaking of missed shot, and they're going to foul Vilka, I think they were trying to come up with a quick play because they wanted to get the shot off early enough that there would be a guaranteed last shot for them, but using the timeout prevented them from being able to move up the floor. And with both free throws good there, we now see a 5-point game. Hawaii. Oh, the fact
free here from Riesman.
Even then, it's so tough. I mean, they're going time tick-tock, tick-tock. They're running out of time. They're going to let Bruno just get his way into the paint. Doesn't matter, 3-point game. They got to just inbound the ball safely, and they're going to let Delmont be the one to do it. He has good, one of the best passers to have as a forward passing in, and going to continue sending Vilka to the line for free throws.
Yeah, and they're still, 2-shot game here. quick throw down to either guard and hope for the best.
I mean, they're
Reisman
gonna
brings it up with her speed.
Valerio going for three is good. I mean, it's not over yet, but this is okay. This is great management from Seattle. This timeout is going to pull them up to the half court line. Even if Seattle loses the inbound and Hawaii gets a hold of it, they have to get up the court. So this is a great heads-up play from Seattle's coach to go ahead and get the Kahunas as far away from the basket as possible. Honestly, all Hawaii has to do is get the ball and throw a heave. That's the best they can do. But they're going to let Delmont be the one to dictate the inbound. It's going to go to Vilka. And as long as he hits both free throws here, it should be out of reach for Hawaii.
Okay.
You have to feel the experience from the Olympics, the experience from the championship. The Wolf is not going to feel any pressure as he makes both of them.
And I think Hawaii knows.
I mean, they're going to throw up a heave and pray, but it's it takes 3 seconds for the ball just to make it down the court.
Man, what a tough way to lose.
I mean,
just a tough way.
It showed good resiliency from the team. The fact that they were able to take a lead in the final minute of the game. Obviously, it just slipped through their paws, but the fact that, they were down double digits multiple times, and all the rookies showed up tonight. Martin with 20 points, Barlow with 16. 2 huge threes from Martin to bring them back within what you thought was perhaps the end of the game. Showed life at the last possible minute to keep them in it.
And that's what's really interesting about this group of individuals. Unfortunately, they lose at home here in what ended up being a very, very close matchup. But the fact that they maintained, they never got behind by more than 10, if I can recall correctly. And of course, their biggest production coming from these young guards is a really good sign. Vilka Sadis for Seattle Summit with 29 points. Ackerman and London with a buck 12. Even O'Hara with 9 points in 16 minutes managed to come back from an atrocious start to get some production for the bench. That's basically what Seattle needed in order to win tonight. They really couldn't have done that based on how Hawaii was playing in the last quarter there without some of that assistance early on in the fourth to help out where the starters, I think, were starting to feel a little bit fatigued at the end.
No doubt. I mean, I'm going to point out Vilka's side is 14 of 14 from the free throw line. Absolutely perfect. I mean, you look at obviously they had to foul late in the game to try and get the ball back. So they were sending Vilka to the free throw line, but he held his composure, hit every single free throw that was asked of him. I mean, just look at the big thing for Seattle, looking at what they were behind in. Points off turnovers. They had 10 turnovers and they let Hawaii score 17 points off them.
Yeah, and going forward for the rest of their season, they'll need to start cleaning some of that up, of course. If they wish to be, as we have talked about tonight, a contender for the lead of their division. The Pacific Rim is still open. There is a lot of competition, obviously, coming from Santa Ana in the other division, but with Alaska winning last year, and so far the Arctics have been, they've had their own changes as well. Even in the in the off season, I think there's still an opportunity here for Seattle to climb up the ranks. They just need to clean up some of this defensive things. Tonight was a start. We saw a little bit of flashes here and there, but those types of statistics, as you mentioned, are one of the things that Seattle's going to have to change if they want to win more games more decidedly than tonight.
Not just that, but the bench needs to step up. Obviously, tonight, 28 points from the bench. The bulk of the scoring was required to come from the 5 starters. Whereas you look at Hawaii, who were able to pretty much cruise with 44 bench points coming in. Obviously, Shuggy was a big factor in that regard. But still, you can't have your offensive, game plan fall apart as soon as your starters get benched.
Yep, we'll be discussing this at great length over the next kind of course of the week here as we go into the Thanksgiving break. Player of the game for the Summit, Andreas Vilkasatis, I would say, has earned that. Hawaii was Henry Martin with those 3-point shots. Both point guards performing well tonight for both units. And we'll talk to them later on after that we clean the stuff up here and wrap things up.
Yep, it's been great having you, Matt Lewis, once again. Hope you enjoy those free drinks you've got.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay here throughout the week and just take advantage of the scenery and the opportunities of being in Hawaii. It's not every day that I get brought out here to do a broadcast. So yeah, thanks for having me with you, and I'm going to wish a happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
And thank you all for tuning in. We will see you in the next SportsDen iteration. Looking forward to everyone coming in. Have a good night.